You do it all without breaking a sweat, and you do it all in style. From being a boss exec to the Tuesday yoga to the kids' homework, family dinners, lunches, brunches, trips to the vet, and a weekend getaway that's anything but a getaway. That's why Infiniti fully reimagined the QX60 to help you conquer it all with ease. Even when you have back-to-back conference calls, on top of kids' basketball practices, not to mention your side hustle. A luxury SUV as functional as it is stylish and as versatile as it is serene. Available features like seating for up to 7 passengers, a suite of active safety features, and massaging front seats. Introducing the all-new Infiniti Qx60, designed to help you conquer life in style. Legal, now with extremely limited availability. Contact your local retailer for inventory information. Hola, and welcome to episode 81 of Word to Your Mama. Word to Your Mama is a podcast about the life of a Latinx mama, that's me, and the lives of my amazing multicultural tribe. It's a celebration of shared experiences navigating this dynamic world. There will be special guests, mad laughs, and absolutely no BS. Nah, B is our motto. Segments by the Supernatural Bear. He's 9, going on 49. That's my son. Other than that, this podcast will be explicit. Please believe it. Today we have the Hola Metaverso wrap-up. I'll have a link to the original episode that came out April 10th. It was episode 74, where Oszie Tarula and I are about maybe 3 weeks out from the event that happened in LA on April 30th. And we talk about Ozzie's part of his incredible story and how he got to this point and how he came up with the idea of Hola Metaverso. The incredible story on how it was Tameron and I's first Twitter space ever. We meet Oszie, we meet Chaco. It's a whole thing. You should go listen to that one. But people have asked for the wrap up, like how did the event go? What's next for Hola Metaverso? So I figured, hey, let's do an episode. So Oszie is very kind because he was going to be leaving out of town, and we had a bunch of different Twitter spaces, a bunch of meetings and stuff to do this on his birthday. So we make sure to give him his flowers. We talk about our feelings leading up, like a week out of the event, the day of the event, and post-event. What the future holds for Hola Metaverso, how it was a community effort, and some feedback during and post event. I read some of the feedback and, just to give you a little context, my mom passed away 27 years ago. So there's a period of the year that is very, very emotional for me. And it's with the date she died, which was April 13th, till my birthday, and it's like the anniversary of her passing, her birthday, Mother's Day, my birthday, is like so many different things. So that's like a important time for me, and this event was happening during that. So I made sure to design a custom t-shirt that said, "I am my ancestors' vengeance," because I know we all are, and I wore it at the event. So the meaning behind what Ozzie's vision was for the event, what it was for all of us to be there, and then to read, you'll hear in the episode from an attendee. I got really emotional. I remember the next day I was crying reading their tweet, and then reading it for them again, and it's not that anything's wrong with crying. So I wasn't like trying to hold it together to not cry. It was for time constraints, guys, for time constraints. So that's it. So let's get into the episode. And then don't forget the Supernatural Bear. It's been a really tough week. tough couple of weeks, and Supernatural Bear will provide a little bit of joy, a little bit of love, a little bit of levity. And then after that will be the outro, where I'll give even more shout outs to those in the community that helped out this event. So yeah, let's get into this. All right. So I want to start off by saying Feliz Born Day to Oszie!
Yeah.
We're
Thank you,
recording this
Ritzy.
on the day of his birthday. So May 24th, Gemini.
Yes. Balance.
Are you guys, though? You guys are kind of crazy. I'm married to one. You guys are crazy.
Would expect nothing less, though.
But you're
Good
different.
crazy. Good crazy.
How's your birthday going so far, Oszie?
Good, went to have breakfast with my wife. Enjoyed that time, and the kids will be home soon, so get to spend more time with them. So couldn't ask for more.
Nice. And Tameron is here. We got the crew back together.
Yep.
Because many people have been asking, because there's people that listen to this have no idea about Web3. And that was their first introduction, hearing the story, hearing Ozzie's amazing story, our story, how we got together. And so they were like, what's the wrap up? Like, how did it go? And I was like, well, then let's do it. Let's do a wrap up episode. So let's talk about, whoever wants to go first. Let's talk about the realities. How was that 2 weeks, that week leading up to the event?
Go for it, Tameron.
Okay, I'll go. So I would say that week leading up, it was okay. So like the start of that week leading up, it was kind of like, okay, it's time. I was already in California for a week at that time, so it was like, oh wow, like this is real. But then when we were getting close, like we're talking like Thursday, even that Friday before the event, it was like, I'm at peace now. Like I don't really care what happens. It doesn't matter what's going on. Like no matter what happens here, like it's a good time. I know I'm going to see some people I really enjoy talking to in Twitter Spaces, but this time I get to see them in real life. So, I mean, that week leading up was stressful, but like once we got to that Thursday and Friday, like everything was, I would say everything was feeling pretty good. I kind of came to terms with whatever was going to happen, which made it that much more enjoyable on that Saturday to be in that sort of state.
What about you, Oszie? I mean, for you, Tameron and I had pressure, but I mean, it was really you, mostly on you, you know what I mean? Your vision, your budget. So how are you feeling before the week leading up and the day of?
Well, the week or two before, similar to Tameron, I was already, I already have projected what was going to be, right? Because, you're 2 weeks away. You estimate a few numbers here and there, but most of the budgets had come in, right? The numbers had come in. So I was already like, I was already comfortable with his projections, and I already knew that we were going to have a good amount of people based on the capacity of the studio, right? We were going to have a good turnout. So that part was done, but I had, every day mostly I have a to-do list, right? Like prioritize what things I have to get out. But 2 weeks before that, I had a list of items in the hundreds, Yeah. So I think in the last month, I would go to sleep between 10 p.m. to midnight, and just taking items off this list, and even before the event, I had like 2 or 3 items left, like miscellaneous items, but I really just I live by that list for like a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, so that's how it was. And again, I was already comfortable with those projections that we already had. I think we already crossed, it was a tall, long mountain we climbed, right? And I think 2 weeks before that, with the numbers and then just the feedback we were getting, we could already see the other side, right? We were like, oh, there it is, we're there, we're like, we're so there. So yeah, that's how I was about a couple of weeks or a week before the event.
The anticipation was getting high too. Like, just talking to people like, so Luis, OG, any time I got a chance to talk to those guys, they're like, oh, we're only a few days away. So like, a little bit of that was happening too. Like we're getting ready to boil over. If we would have had to wait till Sunday, I don't know how people would have been handling it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, it was the same. Like I just thought about it all the time, 24/7. I'm sure, my husband and the Supernatural Bear were sick of me talking about it. And then I think it changed for me, being from living in LA for a long time, but being out here for a while and then actually being in the city and then seeing the venue, the day before, it was like, holy shit, it's real. This is real shit right now. So that night, I remember I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen. And that happens every event I've ever worked in my life, big or small. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like you do all the prep, right? And you have the people in place and you have the da-da-da, but you never know. You never know. It's always a gamble. And I feel like if you're not nervous, a little nervous, but whether it's excitement, nervous or scared, I think for me it was a little bit of both, but it was great. So I know we had like different, well, first and foremost, if you guys are listening to this when this episode drops, it would literally be a month since the event. And is it crazy, guys, that it's been a month?
So weird.
It feels like it's been a couple of days, and at the same time, it feels like it's been years.
Exactly.
It's weird.
Exactly. So I know we have different experiences because everyone's kind of doing different things. Whoever wants to go first, how was it? Like, give us the rundown, like how you felt when it first started, doors open, and then throughout the day, and then the end of the day. Like, so what was that? What was going through your head? What were you seeing? All that shit.
Ozzie, you go first, man.
I've done some events too, right? So it really is about time, again, even for me, the race, right? Like where it's like, your countdown, like, of course, it was like, we planned for 3 or 4 months or whatever that was, but the time started, about say 2 to 3 weeks before that, right? Getting the banners done, getting the canvases done, getting some of these other things done that you had to do, right? In order for it to be at the time, right? The posters, the t-shirts, which, all these things. So like how to come, it becomes a time. So, the day before, right? The Thursday before, I had already scheduled to pick up equipment. So it was again, it was a lot about to do with time for me. So, but the day when he came, there was, of course, there's always little issues, nothing big, but there was issues about time. What time can we arrive there, right? What time do people, all these smaller things, but I think when I was like, okay, this is gonna work, or like my final like the event is here moment, right? Is when it was still early. It was like I think it was probably like 8:30 or 9, and people were already coming in, right? So I was like, okay, there's people here and they're already coming in, so that means they're gonna my projections, I would say, even if there was like 10 people there, right? Yeah. But I knew that the numbers were going to be there, right? And the event was going to be, successful, right? As far as the numbers go, right? So there was so much to do, but I also, luckily there was a lot of people helping too, right? Of course, including you too. But, there was, like Miguel, right? Who hasn't been in our meetings, but that day he asked if we can volunteer. He volunteered and he saved me at least 3 hours, in time, which during those time, that's what you need, he really did. So luckily that was fine. The audio was fine. The video was fine. The streaming was fine. All these things, like all these little levers, all these little checks that have to kind of go in place. The registration table was set, the green room was being used. Even the temperature, I mentioned too, like people, I don't know, people were like, not that I worry about the temperature or the weather, but it's, as an event planner outdoors or anywhere really, that's like a huge cloud. You know what I mean?
No pun intended.
But so the day was beautiful, right? It was a really nice day. It wasn't hot, it wasn't cold, it wasn't windy, it wasn't smoky. So all those things kind of, again, little levers that I was like clicking off as the event got started, and once most of those things were kind of set, I just tried to enjoy the show, right? And try to enjoy and get as much education as I can myself, right? Learning also for myself and our team, right? Like what worked, what didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Like what could be better. I mean, I wasn't taking like hard notes or being, but as a producer, we look at those things, right? We see how people move, where they go, how long the bathroom line is, all these things, that you kind of have in your head. So again, once those kind of things were said, then I kind of just really try to enjoy and really connect with as many people as I can. Although I didn't get to connect with too many people. I mean, I was able to say hi to them, but nothing, no long conversations like I wish I had. But there were just so many people that you couldn't. I mean, I couldn't talk to too many people for a long time. But so yeah, everything was great. I think it was everyone left with one, education, and two, I think some type of little magic, right? Whether it's like we want to build or encouraged, right? I know I left encouraged to continue doing this. So yeah, I think that's how the event went for me. So
yeah, so like for those that weren't there early, there was people as we were setting up, and that was like a little stressful, but it was encouraging though. It was like, oh, they want to be first, like they want to be here. And then so super big shout out to B, Chaco's partner, and Maria Ren. I mean, they held it down. They like got to the to each side for the speakers and for general, and they really helped out during that time. So shout out to them. That really helped us out tremendously. And it also helps that they both come from like nonprofit. They were talking that they both come from nonprofit, so they got that figured outness that you need, just to like, okay, you don't have to explain too much. They just know how to go into action, and we need those types of people. What about you, Tameron? How was it in the beginning and towards the end?
Yeah, so showing up that day, just thinking back, it's been a month, so my memory might be a little bit foggy, but pretty sure I showed up around like that 8:39 number, and I was like, I thought people weren't supposed to show up till 9:30. I was like, why is there already people outside? Like, what's going on here? Like, well, so when I walk in, and it's like I had my shoes on me, I had my book bag. I was like, okay, I need to put these somewhere. I walk in, I have no room to do anything. It's like throw my bag down, start like checking stuff off, see someone, dap them up quick, send them on, like start checking people's names off the list. I got to run around because something else. So starting it off, it was a lot of sprinting, but once the event actually started, it was considerably less sprinting. Still had some between going to the check-in table, going to the green room, seeing if there was like a water for somebody or something like that. But ultimately, I feel like the same way about Ozzie. Once we hit a certain point, it was like, okay, let's try to enjoy this and try to use this for my education. But like some of these people flew in from Atlanta, from San Francisco, from like make sure that I'm actually going to be able to build these relationships with these folks, for the folks I am able to talk to. So a little bit of the same thing, like what Ozzie says, once we hit a certain point and the show is like, okay, like I still got responsibilities, but like, let's lower the stress level a little bit. Let's enjoy the day. So yeah, I would say kind of the exact same thing. It's like, show up, sprint, run constantly, pull out your computer, see if it works. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, we got to find someone else's. But then once like things started to level out, things started to flow a little bit smooth. And yeah, I feel like we all kind of felt at least within that exact same way.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was like hit the ground running, and it was just like, okay, we got it. And someone was like, aren't you happy that the place wasn't that big? I was like, yeah, because to run from one end, I was be like, can you go? I was like, okay, I'm back. And I was like, man, if this was longer, I mean, my feet were barking at the end. Plus, it was my first event, guys, around more than 10 people that I didn't know, in the pandemic. So I'm used to wearing what, my husband calls the peppermint patties, the Birkenstocks. And my toes were like, what is this confinement? What are these shoes? And why are you moving so much? So, yeah, but it got to a point towards the end. For me, it was way more towards the end. And I think it was when things were finally settled, and then I got to stand by Ozzie. And then I was just like, if I saw Ozzie kind of relax, I was like, okay, then I'll relax. It's like, okay, then we're okay. And then I got to listen to a little bit, but it was just this, I don't know about you guys, it was like this magical, like, wow, this is really if
Oh,
that makes
yeah.
sense. Like, right? Like this is
100%.
happening. And the talk about any type of feedback, because the whole point of this was an educational community building event. We kept it small on purpose, right? Because Oszie, you had this vision of really being able to, it's not a con, it's really being able to build and network and just start or strengthen relationships. So what, if anything, did you experience during the event of any feedback, or what you saw and how that added to the magia of the event?
I think that the most impactful feedback I got during the event was, I think it was at lunchtime when we had a sizable break. I'm just chilling. I just finished eating my tacos. I didn't realize I could grab more, so I'm just chilling. And I walk up and talk to Pablo, and he like throws his arm around me. He's like, I've been to a lot of events, and I've never seen one this diverse in every way. Like between like having that strong ratio of women, this many powerful Latinos in a room, and like he puts on events in Puerto Rico and all these other places, and he says that to me, I'm like, damn, we really kind of did this.
Yeah.
And that was like easily the most sort of impactful feedback I think that I got that entire day, and something that I think will stick with me for a while.
Yeah. What about you, Oszie?
I mean, there was quite a bit, honestly, I think moments, but mostly was those connections with different people. But it's weird hearing someone that you just kind of met in a way that's saying, you changed my life, which is a huge thing to say, and to hear and to say it. So a couple of people said that. And then, I think another thing that happened is I think people, were thankful for having a stage, right? Like somewhere to express themselves, which is in any capacity or any form. It's cool to be a part of that, right? Like people are looking for stages, for platforms, right? For them to communicate, for them to build, for them to connect. And, you can promote, right? We can promote and we can market all we want, and we can say, all we want to say, right? But to see it actually in physical form, right?
Yeah.
Then I think it was like, wow, it was like it happened, and that was that target, and that was the goal. So it was seeing that promotion or that marketing or that message that you've been kind of amplifying for a long time, and be able to say like, here it is. It's crazy to see it happen,
¿Alguna vez has estado listo para sentarte y disfrutar de la televisión y luego te das cuenta que no sabes lo que quieres ver o incluso dónde empezar a buscar opciones? Cox Contour TV te facilita esa decisión con el entretenimiento que amas, todo en el mismo lugar. Mira televisión en vivo, programas en demanda, grabaciones de DVR y música. Todo con el sonido de tu voz, con el control remoto de Voz Contour. No solo encuentra los programas que estás buscando, sino que también brinda recomendaciones de romance, aventura o simplemente películas, y disfruta. Si eres fanático de los deportes, captura la acción de golf y baloncesto que has estado esperando y obtendrás los puntajes, estadísticas y resúmenes en tiempo real en la aplicación Contour Sports. Y si te gusta la transmisión, solo dilo para que lo veas en tus aplicaciones de suscripción favoritas como Hulu, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus y más con Contour Stream Player. Obtén más información en cox.com/contour.
COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, people to really pick up what you're putting down. Like this was the goal, and then they got it, and they're telling you during the event was something I never experienced before. Like we've all done events, and but they're not this impactful. It's more like concerts or,
I
music
don't know about you,
festivals.
Ritzy, but I've never done an event before.
Well, there it is. Look at you. Straight right
Yeah.
out the bat. Success.
Yeah,
Oh my
man.
God, I didn't. Are all of them going to be like this? Shoot.
No.
No. Right away. No. But,
Well, if you do plenty, if you do a couple, then maybe. But if you do, a few, then sometimes it rains on you. You know what I mean? Sometimes
yeah.
Busta Rhymes has a concert next door to you. You know what I mean? Like
Sounds like that really happened.
No, I didn't. But something like that. But all kinds of things happen, man.
There's all types of variables that you can account for. When I was running around, one of the first ones, I remember I was telling him, I was like, "You're gonna make me cry," was Jay, and I forget his name, started with the B.
Velasco?
Yeah, Jay, he does Crypto Kids, right? Him and his friend Benny.
Yes, him. I'm not gonna remember. It starts with a B, but
it starts with the B, and he had the beautiful light pink pants. His outfit was on point, and I remember in the beginning of the thing, I was running around. I was like, "This right here, loving it," and then I just kept moving, and then later on they came up, and then they just were just like, "This is better than NFTLA. This is." And then Benny B, we'll call him B because I don't want to mess up his name, but he said that he goes to a lot of these events. And that he was just at a Web3 event in Malibu. He said he had to leave because he didn't feel wanted. He didn't feel like he
included.
He didn't feel like he was, it was for him. And he was just like, this is that. And I was just like, that's the whole goal right there. I don't know what else to say. That's amazing. And he was like, no, for reals. And he grabbed me. He was just like, for reals. And I was like, oh my God, that's physical, and I was just like, okay. So stuff like that was just really amazing. And then crazy big shout out to Tatted for being the first time he's done a bunch of Twitter spaces, hosting that. He does an amazing job there, both English and Spanish. But to have him host in real life for the first time, he killed it. Then we also have the co-host that did a couple of different panels with him, Omizi, Elizabeth. Am I missing anybody else that co-hosted, moderated?
Laura hosted the Latina leaders in Web3 panel.
Cannot forget that. That was amazing to witness. I wasn't really there. I was running around, but to watch it on the replay, we'll have a link to that, kids, if you guys want to watch it. It was, I can't imagine, being in that space, being a woman, and then seeing that as one of your first exposures to women in that space. A whole dope ass panel of women up there giving the same amount, even a little bit longer, right? I think we made it a little bit longer, that panel, just because it was, I think, so important and so impactful. So that's amazing.
I don't really remember. It's been a while since I looked at Twitter analytics, but I think the tweet talking about that panel was actually our most shared and most engaged with tweet from the entire day. So, I mean, that again just shows the power that panel had. Just over and over again, just kind of shows that.
Yeah. I mean, representation matters. And like I said, I'll have a link to the first episode when Oszie and Tameron, tell the story. But, Ozzie's always, since the beginning, always had women be a significant and integral part of the event. So, the fact that was from jump, that panel even happened. And also, I think it's a beautiful thing of all the people you see that are doing stuff together or collaborating because they met at Hola Metaverso. That's a beautiful thing.
That's another thing too that I think it's a really strong highlight for me, that live, right? We saw these connections happen, right? We saw how different people were gathered around a certain person, right? Waiting to talk to them. And then you saw them talking, So it was like real connections. And then, you see on Twitter on different ways that they are working, and they might have been working together before, but again, that relationship, I'm sure, was more, grew stronger at the event, and then two, I think, one thing I think I would give our team credit for too is the network that was there, right? It was a pretty strong network, right?
Yeah.
I think a couple of people also mentioned were like, people here in LA were like, this is a really strong network. I'm glad I connected. They mentioned some, a few folks that were there that I didn't get a chance to meet, but the connections and the network were really strong, so that's another big value that I think we brought to the event.
That's a great point, Oszie. It's really weird for you to say that because I was just saying that too, of like, I just like the network we had there. Like these people I followed for a really long time on Twitter, right? The next day I would see their tweets being like, oh, I had such a great time at Hola Metaverso. I'm like, wait, you were there? Like I didn't see you. First time, like, your PFP was probably like, I'm not used to seeing you in real life. I don't know what you actually look like. But second, I was like, wait, what? I've seen you for so long. I know exactly what you like, talk what you like what you care about in terms of Web3 and all this stuff. But like, I had no idea I was in that close proximity to so many people.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And also, talking to people post about the event, they're kind of shocked when they find out that we didn't know a lot of the people, a lot of the amazing leaders that we had. We didn't know them. A lot of people, like, the support came out. They showed out in droves. Like, there's a lot of people that didn't know us, didn't know anything, and they were like, yes, down from jump, and it run the gamut of the level, and people are like, oh, you didn't know them? And I was like, no, not at all, guys. Like, we didn't really know them like that, but they said yes. They were down for the cause. They weren't just talking about it; they were about it, and it was a beautiful thing to see. Those that jumped on, supported, sight unseen, the day ones. I think those are everyone, the community. This wasn't just us. It wasn't just us. A team. It was the entire community. I think that's definitely very important to mention always, that we couldn't have done it without the community coming together. We couldn't have done it without Twitter Spaces.
Yeah, honestly, Twitter Spaces, really, I think it's people ask our audience. I think we owe a lot of it, if not everything, to Twitter as far as the tool we use, right? Their Twitter Spaces, their followers, our announcements. It was all on Twitter. So, now we're starting to use Instagram and LinkedIn a little bit more, but I would, 95% of our effort, 90% of our everything was on Twitter, and it continues to be on Twitter. And that's why, for me, I'm still willing to, at least bet on that on Twitter, as a tool for us now and in the long term, unless it changes completely. But Twitter is where our audience and where our efforts are at.
Yeah, where we're able to grow. And I don't think I told you guys this, but I hit up Twitter Spaces and I told them the story, because this is important. This literally would not have happened if it wasn't, we wouldn't have ever met if it wasn't for Big Brown Dad's, like I mentioned before, his Twitter Space. So I told him the whole thing. I was like, this event, this crazy, like one of a kind, like first of its kind event happened because of Twitter Spaces, and you need to know this story. And I gave him the whole rundown, and I was just like I haven't heard back, but it's out there.
They know,
they know, like this, marginalized communities came together from a Twitter Space. The inception started there. It grew because of there. People knew about it because of there. So. If anyone's listening, please believe it.
Planning started there,
Please believe it. So, Twitter, anyone at Twitter, tell your Twitter Space department to, do a story, do a write up, do something.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted your space to be. You can't top that. Exactly, Tameron. Like, this is what you maybe you didn't even know that this is what could happen with Twitter Spaces, and it did. So I wanted to read just a couple of, testimonials, get your feedback. We got Liz from Coinbase. She wrote, in all of the Latino community, what a powerful day. Latinos not only consuming, we were building, and I am full of hope. Keep building. It was an honor to be a part of the panel and be inspired by everyone who showed up. Gracias totales. That's Liz right there.
That is awesome to hear. I think one thing too, I think as you get older, or as I get older, right? You say less and you do more sometimes. Or at least that's a lesson that you try to learn, or that you learn along the way. But hearing people like Liz and other people give us that credit, right? So these are people that have been to conferences, right? That are in the spaces that give them access to a lot of other spaces, So hearing some of these things, and even some from event producers, right? Getting their props as far as from an event producer, it's been quite something too. And I think that is, I think with most of the time, not that you need those testimonials, but it's you don't need awards, or you don't need articles, or you don't need recognition. It's those people that do those things, that recognize the amount of work that was put into it.
Yes, definitely. I'm gonna do two more. One is from Christian from Web3. He said, truly believe he made history happen in bringing all of Web3 Latino Twitter into one room to drop knowledge, share projects, notes, and just vibe. Grateful and a pleasure finally meeting Oszie in real life. More to come from his team. How does that make you feel?
Pretty good. I mean, again, this Christian, which is, he's a VC, right? Investor. He's in a VC investment firm. So again, he's gone. We follow him on Twitter. He's gone through a lot of different parts of the world, right? He's seen a lot of events. He's connected with a lot of people, and for him to tweet that, it's like, mouth open, like what, But I think it's all part of it. I think it's all part of the community, and really uplifting each other when there's wins, and when there's not too. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, the community came together, and then so we had people that were part of the event, whether they were panels or they presented. And they helped out from the beginning and really supported. And like we mentioned before, I think it's a full circle moment, as we, you told me it was Web3 Familia when I asked who were the people doing stuff in this space. And then it's like, oh shit, like now they're at the event, post-event, they're talking about it. It's crazy. But this tweet, it kind of gave me tears. It was from someone who attended. I'm gonna try not to cry, because I'm super emotional right now, but it was someone like that she attended, so she wasn't a panelist, and I was like, and then I remembered after, I was like, oh, I remember her, because I remember she came in, and when like you guys, I go to a lot of places by myself since I was young, especially when I moved to LA. I moved from San Diego and I moved from Long Beach, so I didn't know anyone, so I'd always have to go to events. That's how I was going to meet people, right? Tameron, like sometimes you're in a new city, you don't, friends are not into the same thing. So you go to things, especially Web3. How many people in our like immediate friend circle even give a F about Web3, right? Yeah. So if you're really into this and you see this opportunity, you're going to go. So I remember seeing them walk in and looking kind of like, oh, overwhelmed, right? I remember that. For some reason, I just remember that. And then later on, I saw them seated like towards the back row. And I remember I went up to them and I said, I'm a toucher sometimes. I don't know why. And they don't know me. And I remember I grabbed their shoulder and I was just like, you good? Everything good? You need anything? Like, I don't know. I just did that and didn't think anything of it. I was just like, hey, host, hey, da-da-da-da-da. So then this tweet, she said, thank you so much for giving me the op to make to the event. Super pumped and ready to learn more. She said, I was shy to thank you for checking up on me and making sure I was okay. Shows how much Web3 Familia, Hola Metaverso, Latinoverse, and everyone there were so welcoming. And then she says, also, Ritzy, Oszie, Kane, Billy, and everyone else were all smiles all day, very approachable, made me feel like family. I walked in not knowing anything, like where to start, walked out knowing what to ask next and who I can ask for help. All caps, big thank yous.
How does it make you feel, Ritzy?
Yeah, that's a better question.
That's more focused on you. How does it make you feel?
Good one.
I held it together. I didn't cry.
Yeah.
Getting close.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But no, that's really what the event was all about. It was the opportunity for those people that actually do know something to build, but it's also that opportunity for people that don't really know much. Or I know Ritzy and I, we've both kind of like been very public with it. Like we're not like deep into the rabbit hole of Web3 prior to this. So it's like a place for us to be able to like learn. So like hearing that type of review, like whatever you'd like to call it, of the event, like that really just means so much for, I mean, I'm sure all of us.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's part of that inclusion, right? Somewhere else, more than likely, she probably wouldn't have been included, right?
And would have been one of those situations where like she's leaving halfway through.
Yeah,
because,
she's like, I'm out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's part of that inclusion. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about that.
Yeah. So shout out to let me see. Do I say it? Peanut Butter Falcon JC. So shout out to them. Just the fact that she even tweeted that.
Put it out. Yeah.
Put it out there. I mean, that's big. That's huge.
That's a whole lot. Yeah.
So gracias to them for that. We really appreciate it. So now let's talk about where is Hola Metaverso going. What's happening now? The people want to know what's next. If if they're not haven't been listening on the Twitter Spaces or seen the tweets and stuff, but like, what's on the horizon? What's the future hold?
That's a good question because this was our pilot, right? And your pilot, I think for me at least, it's to give you a sense of direction. You're testing the waters, right? We were only testing one thing. We're testing a new space, Web3, right? That we've never, explored before in this sense, right? We're testing, events themselves, right? In Web3. So now that we had that and we had, successful pilot, we're trying to see, where that is going to guide us to, and that's one aspect. And the other aspect is the community, right? Where do we have the support to have another event or to continue building with that community? So saying that, I think there's two goals I would say that we have. And the biggest goal is, I think, Ritzy, Tameron, and I have been chatting and we're still defining ourselves. I don't think one thing that I've kind of enjoyed on this is that we haven't had any hard rules on anything, and we've been kind of letting this energy kind of take us to what has become. But we are planning to become a content media company, right? In any direction that you kind of go, whether you're building a SaaS project or you're building an e-commerce or you're building Web3, whatever company you're at, you're going back to creating content about that community that you're working with, right? So for us, it makes complete sense to, one, continue highlighting this community with content and with interviews, with podcasts, with videocast, with Twitter Spaces. And then that's one thing, is creating the content. And the second part, or not the second part, the other part is events. Events, I think, now we have a solid experience on our hands, right? We've seen what the pilot looked like, right? We know we learned from that pilot. We'll continue learning from that pilot. And then the community is also, just as our team is, they're also in need to get together again, right? Get together in a creative way, get together in a way we continue learning, we continue connecting. So that's another effort that we have. And that's what we are, that's what we became, a content media company that also does events as part of that. So our website, in the near future, you're going to see it more like, I would say, like a magazine style type of website, right? Where you start seeing profiles of this community, you start seeing project showcases, you start seeing, podcasts. So it's a media kind of approach that we're taking. And the events, following the community support, we are talking to, I would call, community partners in Mexico City, and finding a location there and possibly doing an event there. And for us, it's a matter of finding the right partners in that community. And then we're also more than likely also doing an event in Bogota, Colombia. We have a few partners there already. We've already had a couple of meetings. And I don't see a reason why we wouldn't be able to do that as well. And of course, we have Puerto Rico, and I would say in mind as well. And we're going to start exploring soon the possibilities there. So we're not committed to anything, I would say, yet. But these are all areas we're exploring. And also the biggest one, I would say, or not the biggest, but one of our biggest focuses, of course, LA. LA is something we're going to continue to do annually, or maybe even twice a year. So we're going to start planning and building that community here in LA as well. So that's something I think that's going to be our kind of staple event every year in LA. And then throughout the year, possibly have 2 or 3 other events, hopefully in other cities across Latin America. So that's my short, long answer.
That's amazing. And I think another question about the future that people want to know, Tameron, when are you moving to LA? How close are we?
Yeah, dude.
That's on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that make my life a lot easier. A lot less plane trips, or at least better connecting flights. But no, it's in the works. It's in the works. Hopefully it happens soon. I love the city. I love the energy. You kind of got a little bit of that of Hola Metaverso, where the city is 50% Latino, and I was the only white person that was walking around. So,
No,
but no, it's in the works. It's in the works.
Hopefully sooner than later.
Exactly. Hopefully super soon. Hopefully we'll have an update for sure. Yeah, guys. Well, thank you so much for getting, saying yes. And, I know we see a lot of each other right now, but thank you for getting back on, especially Oszie for, today on your birthday. I know your kids are coming home soon. You can celebrate with them. So yeah, just, if there's anything else that you want the people to know, I'll have the links to everything, to each individual person's links, but also to Hola Metaverso. If you missed it, if you want to watch the replay, and you can watch it at your leisure, pause it, take some notes and keep moving. We'll have all of that, and wherever you can find us on socials. Anything else, guys?
Anyone, feel free to hit us up. Like, we are very open to anyone helping us, anyone having suggestions, anyone wanting to maybe get connected with someone that we know. Like, usually we're pretty open with that. As long as you're a good person, we're willing to help out.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think at the event, I mentioned something like, I think the event was able to happen because of people helping, right? So I think that's key to a lot of things that we're all doing, right? So it's time to help each other, right? And I think without expecting much in return, but I think also have, the courtesy, the respect of people's time, and all that too. But I think really it's just helping each other, helping a project that you see, helping, someone that needs a sponsorship, or someone that needs, has an NFT project, is encouraging them, or however you can really help. I think that's a big part of, again, why this event happened. And yeah, I encourage everyone to continue helping each other, really.
Definitely. There's different ways to help. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. Like you said, it could be a retweet. It could be tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. It could be, just, sharing a link. I think that's one thing that I think we could all agree on. This community has been very welcoming, very supportive. For the most part, it hasn't been a competition. It's been really about uplifting each other. And that's rare coming from the different industries that we all come from,
Yes.
especially within our own community. It's usually the crab in the barrel mentality. And I have yet to experience that here. And I hope that and I hope that continues for the most part. And, there's always going to be sharks and stuff, but, you just got to, juke them real quick. But I think, that's really important that we do that. So if anyone listening is in one of the cities we might have mentioned or beyond that, and they are serious about wanting to partnering with Hola Metaverso to bring an event there, please DM any of us, all of us. I mean, because that's how we're going to be able to do this, with people coming together, companies, all different types of projects coming together, and we could, just help spread the word, educate, and strengthen this community. So any help, all help is welcomed. And we're also here to connect with especially some of the amazing organizations, projects that we've been exposed to and I have had the honor to, get to know more intimately and see that they are really about what they talk about. And so we love that. I'll definitely have a list in the show notes as well of a lot of the people that were with us from day one, that helped us a lot with the event, and that continue to inspire and build for the community. So I'll definitely have that. And then if that's it, guys.
Well,
anything
thank you,
else?
Ritzy, too. No, I just wanted to thank you, of course, for having this space, right? This is my third podcast interview, and 2 out of those were with you, right? So
yeah.
I'm glad this is similar, right, for the space to give us, a place for us to chat, to tell our story. So thank you very much, Ritzy. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, man. This is about, diverse voices, dope people that are part of my tribe. And that's you guys. So thank you so much for, just making this happen. I get to know some dope people because of you, Ozzie. So muchísimas gracias, young whippersnapper that I'm older than you on this day. Gemini crazies.
Yes.
Two at the same time, 2 people.
Yep.
But yeah, so gracias, and check I'll put the links to Oszie and Tameron as well. Sweet.
Thank you both.
Gracias. And now introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear.
Hello, I'm the Supernatural Bear, and today for Supernatural Bear Corner, we're going to be doing a very, very quick thoughts and analysis for a comic book called NAHUALLI. And, well, it's a comic series, and it was done by a supporter of this podcast. His name is Josh. Shout out to Mr. Josh. Very great comic. I read it this morning at the time of recording. It was amazing. I only read the 4th issue so far, and we're going to be doing a quick thoughts and analysis on that because I didn't know that was the 4th issue. I thought it was the 1st issue, but so it starts off with 4 kids. And they have encountered a nice and very epic lady with a tiger. And I love that little tiger. Oh my god, it's so cute. I love how it was drawn. Oh my god, just immediately. So anyway, they meet her. She explains what happens to the parents and that they're 500 years old, pretty much. Oh, spoiler alert. Go read the comic. It's in the link is in the show notes. So anyway, a bunch of epic stuff happens. The story of their parents and why they're 500 years old and why she's older in appearance and they're still looking like kids. And then she agrees to train them. And there's a really cool, quick line that says, "Then we'll team up and fight like the Avengers." Yeah, that's so me. And then, it cuts to the main villain's base, and there's someone trying to escape, but she fails. And then another character, who I have no idea who she is, says that they are going to escape together because friendship. And yeah, that was pretty much the issue in a very small nutshell because of the time restraints. I wasn't able to cover this at all. This summary did not do it justice. I recommend you go read the story in the show notes again. And thank you, Mr. Joss. That story was amazing. I'm looking forward to future comics, and yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. SMB out.
Shooby-doos. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 81, Hola Metaverso wrap-up. It was an amazing event, as you could see, very emotional at parts. It's just a beautiful thing to see the community come together. I mean, I was running around. I didn't really get to experience everything, but to do the rewatch and do it in spurts, which you can do as well. I have all the links in the show notes. It was just amazing to see so many people of color in a tech space, in a new frontier of Web3. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And one thing that Oszie said that I love, I'm going to be saying it all the time, is say less, do more, right? And you don't have to be you don't have to have lived many lives to understand that. Know it now. Say less, do more. Don't talk about it, be about it. That's what we're talking about. So I wanted to give special shout outs to the day ones. You guys all know who you guys are that were there from beginning, like I said, sight unseen with the event to help us to get to LA 2022. And then Chaco, he curated the NFT gallery. And then we have, since jump, it was Latinoverse, all the brothers, all the hermanos, the Latinoverse guys. They also did the laminates so that everyone could see like their PFPs and stuff on there. We have David Valdez. I didn't get a chance to meet you, David, but you helped out tremendously. He was doing like the smart contracts and all that stuff. Billy, we call him SB Billy Jiu-Jitsu. He helped out on the tech side too. The amazing H8 artist. He is the NFT 3D sculptor. And the day before the event, special shout outs go to Yaga. He got there. He's the first one to buy a ticket. He was there, was up on the ladders and putting things up. Tatted was there. The crew from Techie Blocks, him and his wife were there helping out. It was, just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And there are so many people that I cannot name all of them on this, but you guys know who you are, all the different organizations, all the different panelists, the moderators, the attendees. Thank you for seeing the vision and being a part of something, epic in many ways because, like people said, they hadn't seen it. And it was, as much as possible. It was bilingual. It was streamed live. So like I said, we'll definitely have a link to that. The t-shirt that I mentioned, the I Am My Ancestors' Vengeance. I also have another one available, Yo Soy Un Milagro. All that is available on the Word to Your Mama store. If you put in code WTYM, you get 10% off. So there's different ways to support this effort here. Let's see what else. As always, there's different ways to support Hola Metaverso, support this podcast. Like I mentioned, it's some free ways. Just, tell your folks, tell your peeps, tell your friends. And as mentioned before, if you are in any of the cities we mentioned, or you have a community in a city you want Hola Metaverso to be there, reach out, DM any of us, all of us, and let's work together to make these events happen, to create these communities. Because like I say in every interview or anytime I'm in a Twitter space, IG live or whatever, and I talk about this, I don't want us to be left behind. I want us to not only be a part of the conversation, I want us to create the conversation. This is a great opportunity now with the way social media and technology and access to information. So yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this together. Also, the comic that the Supernatural Bear speaks of that he read during the Supernatural Bear Corner is by Josh, and I'll have a link in the show notes to his Kickstarter that he is raising funds for issue 5 of the NAHUALLI Modern Aztec Heroes. And also for some of the pledge levels, he's going to have NFTs. And I met him at Unidos event. We did it was a happy hour, and he was one of the breakout rooms. So that's how so Web3 brought us together. So let's support the Supernatural Bear. Like he said, he loved the comic. I think it was issue 4 of the series. And so right now he's raising money for NAHUALLI Modern Aztec Heroes, a comic series that shines a positive light on indigenous cultures and mythologies. The story is a hero's journey showing young brown superheroes stepping into their power. The hope is to empower kids and grown kids to see the heroes in themselves. It's an amazing project from a Latinx creator. So let's support as much as we can, either by pledging and or spreading the word. And if you want to leave a review for Word to Your Mama, please do that. You could also buy us a whiskey via Buy Me a Coffee. You could donate directly. You could also become a patron at patreon.com. We have a link to that. Yeah, but other than that, guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being a part of this community. And as always, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by Ritzy P. Intro beat produced by Nico Beats. If you want to know more, you want to email us, you want to get the media kit, go head over to wordtoyourmama.com. Word to Your Mama is now part of the Latina Podcasters Network. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com.